congratulations.
Thank you.
My first question is, what has been your biggest challenge in this second season? Obviously, without spoilers.
Without spoilers, I think it was the physicality of the second season. I had to learn a lot of new things, a lot of new skills. My character had to do stunts, and I wanted to do all of them myself. I made that challenge to myself, and I had to learn how to do wire tricks. I had to learn how to ride a horse. But I think as an actor, the word challenge, I think, is something that you sort of strive for because it makes you do your best work. You want to be pushed, and I think that's what that's what season 2 was for me and my character. Yeah.
And how was the premiere last night, yesterday?
Do you know what? It was phenomenal. Yeah, the energy in Madrid was something that I didn't even experience in London. I think London was sort of the carpet. We weren't able to interact with people as much, and it was more press. And in Madrid, yeah, we got a sense of the community and the energy of all of the fans of the show, and it was very special. And yeah, I'm going to remember that for a while.
And what's the nicest thing any Lord of the Rings fan has ever said to you?
I think when people experience what the character has gone through in some way, and I remember once in San Diego, someone came up to me and said, I have this really fractured relationship with my father, and I saw myself in your shoes, and I think that gives us a sense of it was just really rewarding to feel like we are giving people that sense of escapism, and what we're doing is exploring what it means to be human, and I think we're tapping into those familial things that we all experience. It's universal, this show, so that was very, very nice to hear.
And there are great British authors. Are there any books that you would like to see brought to the big screen?
Sorry, aside from Lord of the Rings. Ooh, good question. I at the minute I'm in this sort of Camus phase of sort of I think it sort of taps into like themes of existentialism and nihilism, and yeah, L'Étranger is something that I'd love to see made into a movie. It's not fantasy, but my God, is it rich and important. Yeah.
What is do you remember what is the first movie you saw at the cinema?
Oh, God, I'm going to be honest with you. I think it was Harry Potter.
Yeah?
Yeah, Harry Potter in the cinema, and it was. I think that's where it all sort of kicked in for me. It's going to the cinema was something very important for me. It was a sense of escapism and living in a fantasy world, and I think that I've kept hold of that, and it's a lovely full circle moment to be, doing this job and being able to be sort of inspiring other young kids to in their own journey and imagination.
Imagination is very important.
Yeah.
What do you remember about the first time you appeared in the film? In a film, sorry. Your first time.
First time in a film, what do I remember? I remember being scared, petrified, trying to remember my lines. But I think once you get over those nerves, you're sort of forced to play. So it was very, very important. The first time I was on a set, I was about 10 years old, and I was in a movie called Mr. Bean's Holiday with Rowan Atkinson, and he was he always told me that it's important to play and to forget the script and just be in the moment, and I think that's always stuck with me. So as much as I want to be rehearsed and prepared, when I get onto the filming location or wherever I am, I tend to forget everything and just be as present as I can. Yeah.
Great advice.
It was great advice. Yeah, I remember that, and he's still a dear friend of mine. We still talk. So yeah.
If you could choose another character from the series, who will it be and why?
Prince Durin. Yeah, I think I've always wanted to do that level of prosthetic transformation. Although I think I wouldn't last very long. I think the amount of time that requires. But listen, I want to stick with Prince Durin, and I think it's because there's that familial nature to the role. It's hearty, it's warm, and I'd love to explore that level of comedy as well, with that also has got drama at the centerpiece of it all.
The comedy is very important.
Comedy's important. It's that comic relief in a world of Tolkien, and I think Tolkien was inspired by a lot of that, and he really looked to the dwarves as a sense of comic relief. Yeah.
And did you know now more about the world of the Lord of the Rings than you did before?
Well, so my entry point was watching the trilogy, the Peter Jackson adaptation, and that just, yeah, I was obsessed from that moment on. But then I got I segued and then played Battle for Middle-earth on PC, which if you've never played it was a real phenomenal game, to the point where I would just be building my campaigns, and I just loved it. So Tolkien was very seeped into my imagination and into my childhood. When I got the job, yeah, I then had to do a deep dive into the Silmarillion, the Accalibur especially, which is the downfall of Numenor, my island kingdom. That was a tougher read because it's just a lot of information. And then again, the trilogy, the Fellowship and the Return of the King and the Two Towers are, yeah, I think I fell in love with Tolkien and the way that he sort of uses his imagination and fires our own imagination, and we see ourselves in a lot of this work, and I think that's what keeps pulling people back into this piece of literature, is that they can see themselves in a lot of the characters. And despite it being a fantasy show, despite it being fantasy literature, it's also about what it means to be human and how we're all fallible, we all make mistakes, but it's what we do with those mistakes. But yeah, it keeps us coming back to it.
And my last question is, do you have a character you would like to play in the future?
Yes, I want to be in a Western movie.
Oh my God! Like Eastwood movies.
Like a Clint Eastwood movie. Yeah, I really love the sort of tone of those movies and the stillness and the slow pace, and then I just want to get dirty and I just want to ride on a horse.
With a hat.
Yeah. So good. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank you very much, Matthew.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.